Hi, I'm Lauren Fagan. I'm the AD&O here at Lake St. Louis. Today I want to talk to you about my poster, which is all about HIPAA. And when I say HIPAA, I mean HIPAA. 1 P, 2 A's. We see that frequently, that people put 2 P's and 1 A. So you should really know what it stands for: Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. So remember that. That's the first thing I want you to remember when you're talking about HIPAA. It's 1 P and 2 A's. All right. So HIPAA really covers privacy, security, and breaching that privacy. It's really important to know that HIPAA law isn't just around us protecting health information. It's about ensuring that your patients have rights under HIPAA. So they have the right to access their own PHI. They have the right to request an amendment on that PHI, the right to block information about that PHI. As a clinician, you cannot do those things for them, but they have to be able to know that they have the right to do that, and they can go through HIM. So just direct them through HIM. They can make those requests, fill out that paperwork, and ensure that they have access to what they want under the HIPAA Act. Let's really get into the juice of it, is the HIPAA violations that can occur, and most of those we find are through our EPIC, actually. So anything that happens in the EHR where you're accessing inappropriate information, frequently we see if you access your own information, your kids' information, your spouse's information, your neighbor's information, your coworker's information, and also just anybody that is of interest to you that you don't know, or there's a high profile case somewhere in the hospital, or you're looking to check on a friend. Lots of times they're innocent, just checking to see if my coworkers had their baby, things like that. We cannot have any of that. Any click inappropriately about somebody that you aren't personally caring for, even if your power of attorney is inappropriate. You actually can't even look at your own chart. That's considered a HIPAA violation unless you go the right route and you do it through my chart. But you should not be utilizing your EPIC access to look at anyone other than the people that you're caring for. And how do we know when those things happen? That is a really frequently asked question. So our fair warning audit software is generally how we get notified of any of those potential violations. So your information is in the fair warning software if you have access to EPIC. So it'll tell us, hey, Susie was in the chart of her next door neighbor, because it knows your address, it knows their address. It's kind of running in the background, kind of picking up on small profile things like that. And then they would send that to your leader, and your leader could say, oh, Susie was taking care of that person. She's in the chart. She documented that all day. Or she might be like, that person wasn't even up on my unit. I'm not sure why Susie was in that chart. Let's investigate that further. So it is okay for you to take care of your neighbor if you don't even know them, right? You may not even know your neighbor, but however, if your neighbor's here and they're in the PACU and you work up on a different floor, you should not be in that chart at all. So we pick up on those things pretty quickly, and we can do quick investigations on that through our fair warning audit tools. The other things that we would run an audit for are if we get a complaint. So we may have an employee that says, hey, Lauren, I had a baby here and my baby went to the NICU. I didn't tell anyone. A lot of the staff were asking me and messaging me about it. I feel like maybe somebody went in my chart. Can you look into that? Absolutely. We can run an audit to make sure nobody outside of people caring for you were in your chart. Or the house supervisor may say, hey, Lauren, there was a high-profile case in the emergency department over the weekend, and the whole building was talking about this patient, and nobody should have really known about it. The patient never came up out of the ED. I'm really concerned that people had accessed that chart. Okay, so I'll run an audit on it. Should anybody outside of the ED? And sometimes there's good reason. Sometimes there is appropriate reasons for, say, an ICU CSN to be dipping into charts of critical patients to see if they need help. But generally, if you aren't touching that patient, you should not be in that chart. But we will do full investigations to ensure that. Okay, so also we want to make sure that you feel like you can escalate any HIPAA issues you may come across in your workday. So you can tell your leader, or you can utilize corporate responsibility, which is on the homepage, and let us know what your concerns are, because we want to hear them. We want to create a HIPAA safe environment here at SSM. Next, I want to talk about non-accessing of the EHR that are HIPAA violations that we most frequently see. One big one that keeps growing is social media. I'm going to tell you the rule of thumb for me on this one is don't do it. Don't mix work and social media. It's not just about seeing a patient and a selfie behind you or patient information behind you. If you say anything on social media that somebody in the outside world can connect who that person is, it could be a potential violation. For instance, if you said, oh, I had the worst night at work last night. It was my first code, the patient died, but man, I have an amazing team up here on 3 South. They all helped me out and got me through. I'm so grateful to be part of this team. Your intention was for it to be a good post, but the reality is somebody, a family member of the person that died, may see your post and be like, she's talking about my uncle. He was on her floor. I know that. And that could potentially be a violation. So we really just want to stay away from all information on social media about what you do, where you work. That would be my tips and tricks. So faxing and emailing. Emailing is the most important trick I can give you. Is if you're going to put patient information in the email, the subject line needs to have the word secure with an exclamation point, and that will ensure that your email is encrypted and you can email your leader or anyone else patient information, and it will be safe. Hallways, elevators, common areas. We need to keep our voices down. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a loud person. So sometimes we just need somebody to be like, hey, there's a family member around the corner. We really need to keep our voices down. So that is one that will really be helpful for you to look out for your coworkers on, and just to remind people where and when appropriate conversations should be happening. And then last is handle paper with care. Don't be the person that leaves all of your notes and sheets out because you're coming back the next night. You're just gonna leave them on the nurse's station because you're probably gonna have the same patients. We can't have stuff like that laying around with patient information on it. So we wanna make sure we're just printing off new ones each day, getting rid of paperwork. If you come in and there is paperwork on the next shift, please make sure you're getting rid of it, but get rid of it appropriately. We need to utilize the shred bins and not just the trash can. So those are easy things that we need to all work together and hold each other accountable for. So this is basically the gist of HIPAA violations. Thing 1 for you to remember, HIPAA 1P 2As. Thing 2, every click is looked at in Epic. We can see every click in a patient and every click an individual does. So no snooping is good snooping. I don't want you in any charts at all unless you're taking care of the patient. And I would say number 3 would be social media and healthcare. Don't really mix. Those are the best things you can do to make sure you stay HIPAA compliant. Thank you.